All right. So I introduced the 1-4-3 um, lineup. So it has one striker, one left midfielder, two center midfielders, right midfielder, right defense, left defense, center defense. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different than your past experience with soccer is the roles of these two center midfielders. So that's sort of what I'm going to focus on. If you are a striker, you're kind of staying as support in the front, sort of center of the field, right there. I can even I'm not going to draw it out. If you are the left midfielder, so just like before, you're helping as an offense and you're helping as a defense. But you're really in charge, since we have these other midfielders, of working the line. Any ball that gets dribbled up, that would be sort of you. You're also in charge of looking if passing back to the left defense or the center midfielder. And the same thing goes for the right side. You're really in charge with working this line. So this would be somebody that is pretty good at dribbling, is pretty fast, and can come back and support for defense pretty quickly if we need to. The right defense, there's really nothing different about it. You're in charge of the right side defense with support towards the center. Center defense, you're kind of all over, helping the defense mainly in the center area. You're also going to be kind of staying a little bit further back than the right defense and the left defense, but not too far back. And then the left defense, you're in charge of the whole left side of the field defensive area. Goalie, you know your job. So now for these two, I think the best way to explain them is that depending on the side of the ball is on of the field, there'll be one of you will be attacking and one of you will be more of a defense center midfielder, but you would never be playing as far back as the actual defensive line. You're still further forward, but it really depends on the side of the field the ball is on. So say the striker starts and passes over here. He now becomes, or she becomes, the attacking center midfielder because the ball is on mostly the right side. So that center midfielder can then pass to the right midfielder. The striker would move up. The center midfielder would move up. Right midfielder would move up with the ball, hopefully. And if you can't get it, that's okay. You would be able to pass back if you needed to. Right defense would be moving up to support. Center defense would be shifting over. So ball's on this side. left defense would then be shifting over 2. So now this center midfielder becomes more of a defensive center midfielder, but we're not going to play as far back as these 3 defense. But you are going to play a little bit further back, just as another option. So you would be somewhere in this area behind the center midfielder. The attacking center midfielder now, because the ball's on this side. So say you're about right there. And then the left midfielder would still be sort of going up a little bit to support. All right, so say the ball, they have tons of people here. We can't get it there. Maybe they pass back to the right defense. Then maybe it goes to this center midfielder, because remember, he was defensive center midfielder, so he was a little bit further back. And say this person's able to make the cross to this left midfielder. What would happen is a defensive, because this guy's really sort of playing this side a little bit, would move up and is now the attacking midfielder, and this midfielder would move a little bit further back. This left defense would move up to support. Center defense would shift over. Right defense would now be playing a little bit further back. Striker can come over here. Right midfielder can work your line out a little bit because it's so far out on this side. And the ball could potentially be passed to here, to here, and then either the right midfielder or this now attacking center midfielder could go up, get past, and then take a shot. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I'm not moving all of them at the same time, but if the soccer ball is here, this close, this center midfielder is also way up here. And the defense really should be way up too. Left midfielder would be down here as a support too. So you're kind of keeping this line. Think of it for these two as there's always another person helping out the striker depending on which sort of side the ball is on. As primarily a forward, and then the other one is sort of like a center midfielder, but you guys are flip-flopping and swapping. In the other formation that we did with 3 forwards, 2 midfielders, and then 3 defense, you don't have that extra support in this middle. So that's why this lineup is good. And when I say before, I mean last season. Okay. And even the goalie can come up a little bit. And the ball is way over here. But everybody really needs to be moving in sync. You can kind of see here, depending on where the other team is, the striker has this person who then can cross it. The striker has this person. The big thing, even the left defense, you can always kick back. If the defense, you really got to be playing further up. A lot of the defensive players that we have are pretty fast, so especially with the help of the defensive center back, and the right midfield, or I'm sorry, defensive center midfield, who's ever kind of staying further behind. You have tons of people to try to help you. The center defense will be able to kind of cut them off if somebody steals the ball and starts going this way. We'll be able to cut them off. You'll be able to run. Everybody will be able to shift sort of back. But yeah, the big thing is making these sort of open, either square or diamond or triangle shapes of people to pass to. So just like with the practice yesterday, where you ended up standing in a circle, but really you're supposed to be moving around and finding that open space to pass. That's the whole point of that practice, is to kind of set you up for this, and so you can find those lanes. A lot of you just try to dribble and drive through tons of people. Don't do that. Trust your teammates to pass. It's more important to keep possession of the ball than to move the ball down the field by just dribbling it. The people that would do the most dribbling would be the left midfield and the right midfield, because you're in charge of really working the line. So say the left midfielder had the ball way up here, you can dribble it up and then try to cross it, because that would be a great play. But the center midfielders and the striker, you'd be dribbling if it's more so on a breakaway, kind of past the last defender. But there's always going to be tons and tons of people here in this whole area, especially because at your age, there's a lot of kids that are a little bit ball magnets, right? So being able to keep possession of the ball, even if it means passing back to the defense. Say Matt is the center defense. Matt could definitely kick it right up and through and either back up to here or up to the attacking center midfielder or the striker, or even over here, wherever the open space is, because he's got a big kick. And same thing with Phoenix, Aiden, a lot of you, John, those people are going to primarily be playing defense. So hopefully that helped make sense of mainly these two positions. None of these positions are new. A striker is not a new position, but you're in charge of a lot more of the offensive side of the field. You should never be back in the left and the defense. You have to stay up as a striker. What you are doing is opening up our sort of like layout on the field by staying forward. Left midfielder, you're in charge of offense and defense, moving up and down this line. You're shifting over a little bit, but you're really in charge of the line. Right midfielder, same thing. You're really in charge of the line. Depending on which side the ball is on. Center midfielders, you are shifting up and down, not as far back as the defense. So you're really playing a little bit more of a forward-ish position, but you're moving up pretty much this whole box area in the center. shifting back and forth between defense and offense. All right, I hope that made sense. And I think I over-explained it a little bit, but I'll see you tomorrow.